Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being in our buyer seminar. The purpose of this seminar is to give you all the information that you need to know before start your process, the key to your house. My name is Sharon Hawkins. I'm with Keller Williams. I have been in the industry and helping families like yours buying your home for more than 12 years. Experience count. You need to have our trust to help you to get with your real estate goals.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Raquel Hernandez, and I've been a realtor for the past 8 years. It's been amazing. I'm super happy to help you with the goals that you have in real estate. The areas of expertise that I attend my clients are downtown Miami, Brickell, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, and Pinecrest. So our goal today is to show you that you can buy a home in Miami, and it could be the smoothest process ever as long as you have the right team by your side. So the steps by step to buy a home are the following. First, you have to get the pre-approval. We're going to talk about this in a couple of minutes. Then you have to start looking the home. So the home search, in this case, this is where we're going to help you look for the perfect for you and your family. Then we're going to offer, this is a document that we're going to prepare for you to give an intention to the seller of buying the home, and then negotiating on your behalf with the price, with the time that you want to close in, with all the repairs that need to be done, and everything that involves the negotiation part of the process. After that, once we get into under contract on the home, we're going to give you the contact of the inspector where you're going to see everything that the house has, and they're going to guide you with the process of the inspection. Once we finish that process, we're going to go with our mortgage broker that he's going to send the appraisal to give you the price of the home. This is something that the buyer will do with the bank. Then we're going to get the process of financing. We're going to also be explaining about this in a couple of minutes. And once we have this process, we're going to be heading to the closing. The closing is the last steps that we get into the transaction, and it's when you're going to sign. And everyone, just remember that a realtor is not just the person who opens the door for the houses. We protect the interest of our clients, and we negotiate on your behalf so you can get the best deal that you possibly can have. In Miami, good homes move very fast, and that's why you have to be prepared with the best team on the process.
Thank you so much, Raquel. What I want to talk to you is a little bit about the whole process, all the people that is included. As Raquel explained to us, many steps are going to be in this step that you're taking to buy the home. Why is it important to have your real estate agent? It is important because we congregate all third parties in this process. Even if it's one of our preferred lender or insurance company or inspection company, or whether if it's your preferred lender or inspection or insurance, we have to put together all the steps for you to get your home. And our work, as Raquel explained to you, is not opening the doors. And for that reason, in many situations, we may have a showing assistant that is going to open that door for us. What is more important in the beginning for us is that you have very clear all your needs and all your wants. What is this? We're going to have a meeting together, and when you decide and when you're ready, or we help you to get ready for the purchase of your home. And in that meeting, we're going to ask you a lot of questions. You're going to let us know exactly what is the area where you want to live, why somebody wants to live in one area or not. Maybe your family lives there, you grew up there, you want to be close to your job, you're going to be close to the schools of your kids. There are different reasons why a person wants to live in different areas. That we think is one of the most important needs for the families that are going to buy home. The other one always is, of course, the budget. How much is the maximum that you want to buy? Because you may qualify for $1 million house and you don't want to have a payment for $1 million house. So you're going to say to us, no, according with how much I want to pay, I want to invest, I don't want to buy $1 million house, I want to buy a $700,000 house. I don't want to buy a $700,000 home, even if I am pre-approved, I want to buy a $600,000 home. So this is all the conversations that we want to have. Another need could be your mom lives with you and she is in a wheelchair. We don't know. There are different needs that without those points, you won't buy that house, right? Another ones are one. For example, I want to have a pool. Well, maybe the house doesn't have a pool, but you have a patio with enough space to build your pool in the future, right? So these are all the important needs and wants that we want to ask you in the meeting. And after that meeting, we of course go step by step with more deep information about the step. If you're gonna buy with a mortgage, the down payment amount. I mean, the mortgage lender is gonna let you know, but we want you to be ready for all the steps. Like at the moment when we're gonna make the contract, when we make an offer, when you're ready, we sold the houses. We don't recommend you to see more than 8 homes, for example, because more.
Why is that you recommend that amount of homes, Sharon?
Between 5 and maximum 8 homes, right? Do you agree, Raquel, with me?
Yeah. I super agree with you, but I would like to tell everyone why is that.
Oh, why?
We approach that way into the process.
When we talk to you and you give us all the information about your needs and your wants, when we search that house specifically for you, and we don't want you to waste the time distracting of all those listings that you're gonna see. I mean, you can look on Zillow, on Realtor.com. You have the right to look also yourself in case that we skip one of the houses. But you have to be sure that in the shorter time that you get your home is the fastest that you're going to have that investment, and nobody else is going to take the house that it really has all the requirements, because we are going to have a lot of buyers right now. We are going to a buyer's market. There is a lot of inventory already, and if you wanna go back and forth to one house to the other one, and when you may think, oh no, I'm gonna keep looking, and while you keep looking, you don't find another house that is better, and when you come back, the house that was for
it's
you
not anymore available.
And it has happened. We have the experience. I mean, we live from this, of course, but we want to be sure that you get your home. This is not it's not our, how I can say, it's even
our duty is to find you the perfect home.
Yes.
But we also have to advise you that we don't move fast, or if we don't move on the right direction, you can also lose the deal.
Yes, it's not about us, it's always about you. So in this whole process, of course, the title company, it comes in a big importance in the process, because it's they transfer the ownership documentation to you, and they are also looking in your benefits and protecting you in the future, so nobody can come and say this house is mine, or maybe that you close and then you have a lien, or there was a violation. We are going to take care, and with our partners, that you are completely free, your title is completely clean in the moment of the closing. Something else, Raquel, did you have?
No, I wanted to add the fact that, because sometimes, especially people that are looking for homes for the first time and they don't know anything about the process, they might think, oh my God, 8 houses is nothing. I have to see more. I have to see everything that it's on the market. The issue with that is that sometimes you need to know what you want. And some people don't even know what they want until they see it. So that's why we first sit down with you and we ask you all the questions, like when you go into the doctor and they ask you all the questions about what do you have or what you have not have.
So now we're going to talk to Amanda. She's from Home Team Home Inspections, because we have her here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda from Home Team Inspection. We can provide all types of inspections for you. When you are under contract, we can book the inspection for the next day. It's really important to have an inspection as soon as you are under contract. And after the inspection, we deliver the report in 24 hours. If you need to do something in the house that you are buying or the seller. And we do inspections like whole house inspection, 4-point and wind mitigation for the insurance, property address, specify what is the best type of inspection for you. If you need silver scope inspection, mold, septic tank, so we can provide every type of inspection at the same time. It take around 2 hours, and we have a walkthrough. And after that, we deliver the report and help with any questions that you have.
Amanda, ask you one of the questions that we have received here. What is the importance of the wind mitigation inspection?
Yes, this is the inspection. You get credits and discount for your premium insurance. As much protection the house has for winds and storms is better for you, and you decrease the price of your insurance.
All right, thank you.
So I wanted to ask Amanda, what is the process for a 4 points mitigation inspection?
Yeah, the 4 point and wind mitigation is the two inspections that you need for insure your house. Based on those two inspections for insure your house. Based on those two inspections, we will have you send to the insurance company and they will send the quote. The 4 point will check 4 points in the house: roof, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And the wind mitigation will check all the openings in the house, and based on those openings and roof, you have the credits for discount on your premium insurance.
Amanda, we have another question and is related a lot of buyers in the past, and we like to educate our new buyers because when it comes to the inspections, they are really anxious about what they have to care of it. And the report is very large, but we know that when the house is the right house, there are a lot of items that can be solved. In your experience, what are the big issues that they really need to be worried about it, and what it can be solved without any problem?
Yes. One thing that we always say, every house we will find something, even new constructions. If you are under new construction, you must do inspection too, because every house there is small things or sometimes big things that you don't need to worry about. And big items that I think is really important you to count is the age of the roof, plumbing, electrical, because those and depend of the type of issue we find in those three items. If it's a age of the roof, it's in the end of its life, a good amount of money that you need to spend. And electrical, sometimes it's just an outlet that's not working, so you don't need to worry. But if the electrical panel has big issues, so you need to worry a little bit more. Having the best professional real estate, it will guide you and get the process smooth and really easy to resolve everything.
All right, thank you, madam.
So usually, depending on the year of the house, also my understanding is that it could have more or less issues as a part of the repairs. So do you guys provide in the report that you guys give to the buyer the prices for the things that need to be changed?
Yeah. We usually don't provide. We send only to the realtor if the realtor asks for.
Okay.
Approves it.
Yeah.
It's an option. Let's say
it's an option. It's an option. Yes, because you are the best one to know what type of client you have. Sometimes they are like super scared of everything. So if you put like let's say 1,000 for the electrical panel, they will freak out if they don't get the credit, right? Correct. So it depends the client, and we usually send just to the realtor. Separate.
That's why we need to have the right team working with us.
Yeah, and one thing that we always do is we always send the report first to the realtor in case you guys, so you can take a good look and prepare. We can have a conversation, the buyer.
Client for the buyer.
Amanda, yes. I had the experience with you in one of my deals. We were in need of a mold inspection.
Yes.
It was very successful for my client to have your mold inspection. Please explain to our buyers what exactly is a mold inspection and what they can expect from it.
Mold inspection is not as part of whole house inspection, so it's a separate inspection. And we always recommend. But if the client has healthy issues, or if in the disclosure they see that is a previous leaking, we highly recommend the mold inspection. Is inspection only to look for mold, type of leaking, or high level of moisture. Inspector license only for mold. And this type of person, our inspector will look for mold and will take air samples and swab samples. Those we will send to the lab, and usually takes 1 or 2 days. And then based on those lab samples, we will have the result if there is mold and what type of mold it is. And for the mold inspection, standard to have at least 2 samples, 2 inside and 1 outside. So it counts as 3, right? So we can see the difference of mold inside and outside. And if your mold inspector see any type of mold in the air conditioner or let's say in the bathroom, he will take a swab test and send to the lab too.
All right.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Amanda.
And one thing that we need to educate the buyers too, if they have any type of specific loan, like VA loan or FHA, so they require type of inspection. FHA,
Like what? Like which ones?
Yeah, for FHA and VA loan is the standard whole house inspection, 4-point and wind mitigation, pass. And if for VA especially, if the house has a septic tank, we need to do the septic tank. And if there is a well, we need to do the well inspection and water.
For the VA loan.
Yes, for VA loan is more details. They need more type of inspections.
All right.
And for FHA, 4-point wind mitigation and pest to look for termites. It's called WDO.
Oh, all right. And are those tests also paid separately?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Obviously every test has a different price. We
Correct.
assume it's different
Yes.
services.
Yes, our prices start at $359 and it depends on the square footage of the house.
All right. So that's a good point, because as you see, type of mortgage that you're going to have, the requirements are different, and of the buyer that you will have, but this is part of the investment. I mean, this is a cost that is going to take you to get the loan approved, right? With the purpose of buying your house. So this is nothing that has to scare you, but you're going to be more sure that what you're buying, and what the mortgage company is doing is protecting you, or not buying the property that is not fitting the right expectations. Amanda, do you have any other important point that you want to share with us?
Yes, when you are choosing the inspection company, always think if they are insured, if the inspectors are licensed, and their availability, because it's really important to do as soon as you are under contract. And one thing that our company, we have more than 30 years of experience in the market, and we serve the whole US. So every time that we are doing inspection is a team, at least 2 inspectors, so they know everything they are doing. We deliver the report in 24 hours and we do the inspection in 2 hours. It depends on if the house is like 10,000 square feet that we did last week, we did in 2 hours because we brought a big team.
All right.
That's
and
amazing.
Of course, the price of your service changed.
Yes.
So
because
obviously,
the square footage.
obviously there is no perfect home, but inspections will help you to know what you're getting into and give you the leverage to negotiate the repairs and credits, right?
Yes, because even brand new, we found something. 2 weeks ago, we did a brand new property, and they had like some tiles that were not installed. The gutters were finishing too close to the foundation, but it were just small things that those corrections will have a good impact in your property later. And for condos, the same. We did an inspection yesterday in Austin Martin.
And a pretty new building.
Pretty new, yeah. More than 10 outlets weren't working. The HVAC need a little bit of cleaning. So, and it's normal. It's totally normal because we are in this industry and we see a lot of things, so you don't need to worry. End of the report, you have our number, and we work almost 24 hours. You can always call us or text us.
Yeah, that's very important that you guys bring the report as soon as you can.
Yeah,
Yes.
24 hours is a great time. Amanda, we have done a lot of inspections with Amanda in the past, and we highly recommend her. That's why we brought her to our seminar to share with you the information. It's going to take you to have the inspection of your home.
For being with
Thank
us
you,
and
Amanda.
for valuing your time.
No,
All right.
thank you. And you can always count on us.
Of course. We'll
So
see
what
you
is the
later.
contact for people that would like to make a service with you?
Yeah, you can call me direct at 305-546-5973, or you can book an inspection online, hometeam.com, South Miami.
All
Excellent.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So how we were been telling you, we're gonna have here one of our preferred broker in the mortgage side, the person that is going to provide you with a product that fits your needs and your finances, because the house is important, and also you need to have all in place, with your finance, your down payment, your closing costs ready. And here is Alex. Alex, thank you so much with iFinance for
Hello.
with us. We want to give you now our microphone, let's say, so you can introduce yourself and let us know on our buyers that are here listening to us what's the most important in this process.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Gandarilla. I am the CEO and mortgage consultant of iFinance Florida. Been in the business of finance for about 15 years. Started first 4 years with Chase, and I quickly, after that, jumped into the mortgage side. I've owned my own company now of iFinance Florida since 2020. I opened it up in the middle of the pandemic, and thankfully, everything has gone very well. Every year, we continue to grow and it's based on a sound service of being real with people, educating them, explaining things from A to Z. That way they understand what they're getting into. It's not so much, yes, you qualify, let's go buy. It's, do you understand how the process works, what entails in your mortgage, what your payment looks like, what you're responsible for, what you can and cannot do. So a lot of my process is educating the end consumer, our buyers. And especially when we work with first time home buyers, I understand us three and our other guests on the call, Carlos and Alan and Amanda, it can be daunting. We do this every day. To us, it's like secondhand nature. But for somebody who is coming to the table for the first time, I understand that this is very not fearful, but there's a lot to take in, and I want to be that voice of reason that calms them down and tells them, listen, this is not as complicated as it is. Let me break it down to simpler terms. And I like for people to understand everything because then at the end of the day, they can't come back and say, well, I didn't know this. Like, hey, we explained everything. And that's the other part. Let's make sure they understand. So we go from there.
Okay,
Awesome.
Alex, now I would like in this market that we see that, the interest rate is the most what our every is holding back everybody. Of course, we understand. I want you to help us to clarify what is the difference. I mean, what is the difference now, but how important is to make that move if you can afford it, because there is an affordability, right? An affordability issue, the way I see it, when of course, because of the interest rates are a little bit high, because if you see the history, this is not high at all compared with 10%, 8%, 12% in the past. But we don't used to have to see this 6 to 7% in our market in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 years. So please help us to educate our buyers in the fact that the affordability is right now. If you can afford it, you're gonna make better in the future. I mean, if you can afford it. In our perspective is if you can afford it, buy it, even if the interest rates are a little bit high, because the interest rate can be corrected in the future. Would you talk about it a little bit?
Sure. So let's take a year ago, we had a line of buyers. Everybody wanted to buy a year ago. But our problem a year ago was that we didn't have enough properties for sale. So there was a lack of properties. Fast forward a year later, we're on the complete opposite spectrum. We have a lot of properties for sale. And it's not that we don't have buyers, but it's a lot of buyers that are on the fence. Because my opinion is that we have people that inflation is catching up to people. Now they're starting to see the numbers. Now they're starting to see, wait a minute, if I have that high of a monthly payment and I make this much money with the way cost is, it's keeping people on the fence. Now, something else I've noticed is that it keeps people on the fence for 60 to 90 days and then they say, the heck with it. Let's move forward and buy. Because they've had time to understand either we buy now or we're going to buy more expensive. Because home prices in South Florida, mainly in Miami-Dade County, continue to climb. They've stay the same, but they understand what's going to happen when the rates come down, and that is that everybody who's on the fence is going to jump to buy, and now the prices are going to start going up. Yeah. So what I tell most people now is, it's okay to use that to be wary about what you're looking at and what you're going to buy and make sure it fits your budget. And that's something else that people should be doing, is working on a budget. But it's also smart to understand that you can, as the famous saying, right? There's a quote that's been going on for at least 2 to 3 years now, right? Date the rate.
Yes.
marry the price. You can break up with the interest rate anytime you want and refinance to a lower rate in the future, but you won't be able to do that to the price because once prices start to climb up again, they're going to stay higher. I think this is the perfect storm or the perfect time for buyers to buy because you can get reduction in price and also get a seller credit, which that right now that seller credit could do one of two things. It can be a permanent buy down where you can get a much lower interest rate with the funds being given to you as a seller concession or seller credit by the seller, or you can do a temporary buy down where you can see the interest rate drop anywhere between 2 to 3 points lower than what the note rate is. So, for example, if your seller is willing to give you a $20,000 credit and the floor rate is 6.5%, that means that in year one, your rate would be 4.5%. Year two, it would be 5.5%. And then year three on, it's 6.5. Now, most people say, oh, that's an adjustable rate mortgage. It's not because they're warning you up front what it's going to be. And in that time, you have the right to refinance without payment, without any type of penalty. So if rates happen to come down, what you're doing for the first 2 years is saving. But if you were to buy, you're still going to buy at 6.5. Why not take a reduction in interest rate for the first 2 years that you're not even paying for? And then all those savings you get in the first 2 years, you can use to refinance the loan in the future. Now, the other part that people don't look at is property tax bill. The property tax bill is gonna go higher as the purchase price increases. So you could buy it now and have a lower tax bill, or wait a year or 2 years, and then all of a sudden the property tax bill is going to be much higher. And that's another thing that people don't put into the equation, so to speak, until it's too late. Um, but that's the biggest part right now that I tell people is look at it from a different perspective. All you're looking at is right now, but what happens in the future?
Yes.
Now, Alex, I wanted to ask you, so what would be the type of loans that you work with, and what's then the less amount that somebody can have as a down payment to buy a home? And also what would be the basic documents that they need to qualify for a home, for a purchase?
So let's start with the documentation because I ask for these documents no matter what type of loan I'm working in because it lets me see the spectrum of where I can fit the client. I'm always asking for latest 2 years of tax returns, latest two pay stubs if they're employed by somebody else. If they're not employed by somebody else and they own their own business, then I'm gonna need to see the latest 2 years corporate tax returns as well. Latest 2 months bank statements, two IDs, and then my team will have a conversation with that client. And instead of us pulling the credit, we're going to ask you, be honest with us and let us know, what do you owe in credit cards? Do you have student loans? Do you have personal loans? Do you have a car payment? If so, how much is it? Because these are all the things that I need to basically gather information for me to come up with what type of a loan would you fit under. Now, as to what type of loans we do, I like to categorize that into three different doors. Door number one is the pretty cookie cutter conventional FHA or VA loans. They require all those documents, right? But if you're like most of us on this call that are self-employed, we might go for door number two, which is called the non-QM loans, right? Those are the bank statements, there's profit and loss statement loans, or for the investor, likes to use the DSCR loan, which uses the income that the property can generate to qualify for that loan. So it just depends on the loan, depends on the client, and it depends on the profile. And what I like to do is look at everything and go, okay, you have access to 1, 2, 3, or maybe even 4 loans. This is my recommendation, and this is why. But I like to put the cards on the table for the client so that they can do what? Make a decision that's best for them. And then I like for them to ask me questions because I can cover those little doubts that they may have per loan. But as far as what type of loan we can do all types of loans.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. And what would be the contact that you can give us so everybody can look at you?
Okay, so I wish I had it with me to share with you guys, but I normally have a little QR code that they can scan.
We can put it later.
But I'll send you a QR code that has all my contact information. I do have a 1-800 number that you dial, and an actual human being, not a computer or anything like that, an actual human being answers the phone, and you can tell them, hey, I want to speak to Alex or someone that can help me. I have questions. Now, being that, and Sharon will tell you, my phone doesn't stop ringing, and a lot of times I'm on a call with somebody else, they'll go to the next person in my team that's available. And everybody that works with me has got over, some people have 17, 30 years, some people have 5, 6 years, some people have 15 years like myself. Somebody in the team will be able to answer the phone and get to your answers right away. Our biggest thing is be completely transparent, explain everything from A to Z, property, and I don't really sell, I explain. And I find that most people don't want to be sold. They just want their doubts, their concerns answered. And that has helped me get to the point where my clients ask me, where do I send you my documentation? And that's what I try and push for. I want you to understand. I don't want to sell you. I want you to make sure that even if you don't use me and you use another loan officer, let's keep that loan officer honest. Because sadly enough, as you guys know, we're in the middle of South Florida where there is a lot of people that will tell you everything you want to hear, and not everything you need.
Alex, before to let you go, there is
Uh-huh.
something that I don't want to pass it from this opportunity. Why is important to get that pre-approval? Why is that the buyer needs to know that amount that is going to be our amount to go for that search, for the search of their home?
The best way I can put that is we want to be respectful of everyone's time. But I'll take it a step further and let's talk about the buyer, the person that wants to buy that property. I've seen it happen one too many times where a person walks into a property, the wife falls in love with it, the husband falls in love with the garage and the pool, and they start to dream things of what could be in the future because of what they were told, only to have the rug pulled from underneath them and they can't qualify for it. You don't want to go house shopping, fall in love with a property only to find out that you can't purchase it. You'd rather know upfront, this is what I'm capable of, this is what I can do, let's go find it. And that when you fall in love with the right property, that you or Raquel go and show them, that they put it into their heart saying, you know what, this is gonna be it. And that 30 days later or less, they own that property. They're getting the keys. The worst thing to do to somebody is give them hope only to just rip it from them. So what I tell people is, let's find out exactly what you're capable of. Let's find out what you can do. And you'd be surprised, but I got some clients that say, wow, I couldn't get that high before. How did you do it? I'm like, well, I'm pushing the envelope. I'm calculating if we can find your property with a lower tax bill and lower insurance, you could go for a little bit higher. And mind you, nothing that the other loan or the bank did was wrong. They're just being ultra conservative. I'm conservative, but I'll push the envelope. I'll tell you, listen, Raquel, listen, Sharon, if you can find me a property where their current insurance is X and the taxes are Y, we could have a loan here. But now, have I made the job a little bit more difficult for you guys? Obviously. But on the backside, there is always a solution out there that you'll be able to find. But I think the biggest one is not to waste anybody's time. But more importantly, I hate to see the face on the clients' faces when they can't buy that home. I think it's the most disheartening thing. And I've seen it one too many times, and I don't like to see it again. So I tell people, listen, comfortably, this is your number. But if Raquel can find you a property where this is the tax bill, and we talked to Carlos going, Carlos, can you get the insurance here? Now that's a game changer, and we can push the envelope by an additional 10 or 15,000. But that's the biggest reason. You want to know exactly what you can do in order to be respectful of everybody's time, but more importantly, of your time and your emotions.
That's right. Thank you so much, Alex, for being with us. And we want to share with you all the information about Alex and I Finance Florida. But he's ready to go, right? I'm sorry, we have
I'm always on the go.
We're gonna talk about title, and we need to this seminar going. We appreciate you, Alex, a lot. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Maylene, no para.
Good morning in the morning. Hold on, let me put
¿Cómo estás? So,
aquí lo más bien.
sí. Ay, no te veía hacía tiempos.
I know. Hold on, give me a second because I have to clear this.
All right, so now we have Maylene Montelongo with New World Title. That has been my title company for 12 years, since the beginning of my beginnings, right, Maylene?
12 years. Wow, Sharon, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
What I can tell you about having a person that you trust, and as we want you to trust us as your real estate agents, I have trust Maylene for all this time, because no matter what happened, no matter the time, no matter the day of the week, she answers to me, and that's a big value, because at the last moment of your closing, one document can be missed. We need an additional signature or anything, and we want to tell you that in advance. We know that happens, and that's why I want you to trust Maylene as well. And Maylene, the title side of the transaction is what we less know how to explain. In my case, I'm still learning. I only know that, it's very, you need to have the document that says this property is mine. And Maylene is going to explain to us how is the process of the title company.
Yes. And thank you so much for that introduction, Sharon. And I have to completely agree. Being in this business, I want to say I'm going in 22 years. And the one thing that I've come to realize is partnering with real estate professionals that understand what you're looking for. They understand your needs. They have a solid team that'll get the job done, because there are a lot of overwhelming steps. This is a lot of money that buyers are bringing onto the table. This is a lot of money that sellers are walking away with once they pass the closing process. And you literally nailed it. Like, a lot of people just sometimes when it comes to the closing, every closing is different. Every closing has its story. So a lot of people are like, I don't understand why this happened and why did that happen. So I'm going to put everything into perspective, that it's easy to understand what the closing process essentially is. So what we do as a title company, we essentially have two roles that we play. The first role that we play is we're that of a title agent. Our job essentially is when Sharon and Raquel send us your contract, or they send us a contract for sale, we have to make sure that at the closing table, at that day, when we're giving you the title, the ownership rights of this property, that there is nothing pending on against that property that pertains to the seller. There's no judgments or liens that are recorded in the county courthouse. If there are any open permits, those have been taken care of. Any violations. So we do a lot of I don't want to say the legal legwork. We do a lot of the homework. So when we get a contract, the very, very first thing that we do is we order a title report, which is going to tell us if there's anything recorded in the public county record, in the courthouse records, that is against the seller onto the property. So that's the first thing we're doing. And things that we'll find are, your common things, your mortgages, if the HOA had placed any liens against the property, meaning that the seller hasn't paid those HOA dues. If there's a pre-foreclosure, let's say, for instance, the seller hasn't paid their mortgage in the last 2 or 3 months, or if they've done any work to the property. For instance, if they maybe hired a contractor to do a new roof, or perhaps they wanted to upgrade the windows to hurricane impact windows. Those are things that a contractor or a third party may say, okay, well, this seller owes me money. We're going to file this lien against the property so that when they sell it, they pay us back. So those are things as examples that we look for. The second report that we're ordering is based off the city and the municipality. And I know this one can get confusing because sometimes the homeowners or the buyers are calling me and they're saying, well, didn't you already do a lien search? I'm like, yes, but one is for the county records and the other one is for the city. So in each county, and I'll take Miami-Dade for as an example, it's Miami-Dade County, but within Miami-Dade County, you have municipalities. You have the city of Hialeah, you have the city of Coral Gables, you have the city of Homestead, Miami Lakes, so on and so forth, right? Each municipality has their own record system. So what we do is we contact that municipality and we're saying, hey, we need a report on this property. We need to make sure and identify that, one, does it have any permits pending? Have any permits been opened? Have any permits not been closed? Have all the permits passed inspection? Are there any code violations? Meaning, and this is very famous in certain areas such as Miami Lakes and Coral Gables, where the city may come in and they're going to look at a property and they drive around. I mean, these people, they're like incognito, like they're like super city spies. They just drive around in regular cars. And if they see that the grass is like a centimeter higher than it should be, or that you left your garbage can out for an extra day, they will citate the property. They will then say, hey, there is a notice. And what eventually happens is, and I say this to put it in perspective for the buyers, because I do see that this issue sometimes can delay the closing process, and it's not of the seller's fault. What it is let's say they do get a code violation, right? For having the grass a centimeter high or leaving the garbage out or whatever the case is. The seller sees this, they're like, okay, I'm gonna go cut my grass, or hey, I'm gonna bring my garbage can in. That's fine. But what they didn't do is they didn't contact the city to then tell the city, hey, I
Hey, I
cut
cut the
my grass.
grass.
Yeah.
Or hey, I brought my garbage can in. And I'm just giving these as examples, but truth be told, like I've seen some crazy wild things in my 20 plus years. I'm like, did they really citate that house for this? Like, come on, people. Like, let's be
Yeah.
real. But what ends up happening is when we get back this report, it'll tell us, hey, the seller has this citation or they have this notice. And usually what happens is we'll call the seller and we'll say, hey, we noticed that you got this citation. Did you clear it? Did you cure it? Yes, I did. Okay, I need you to call the city and let them know that you did this so they can remove it. That little process right there can sometimes take an extra few days because we want to make sure that when we get this report back from the city, whatever is on there has already been cleared out. We don't want to give the buyer a property if there is a pending code violation for our garbage can that wasn't sent in, if that makes sense, right? So that's basically what we do at the very beginning. That's basically our role as a title agent. Our second role is that of a settlement agent. So think of us as your middleman, right? On your contract, the buyer's basically telling the seller, hey, seller, I really love your property and I'm going to put a deposit. I am going to give you and I'm going to put into the title company's escrow account. I'm going to give them $5,000 for you to hold this property for me. So we hold that escrow. So we're like the middleman, right? That also as well is we're going to communicate and we're going to work with the buyer's agent. We're going to work with Sharon and Raquel. We're going to work with the seller's agent, whomever that might be. We're going to work with the loan officer and anyone and everyone involved in this transaction as that middle person. And our goal is to make sure that all of the contract terms are basically in line. Did the buyer turn in the deposit? Did the property pass inspection? Do we have a clear to close? We do a lot of communicating with the lender because we want to make sure that one, our job in clearing your title is done by the time the bank and the lender is ready to say, hey, May, we're clear to close. We're ready to send a loan package to you. We're ready for the buyer to sign. And at that point is when we create what's called a closing disclosure. So we will balance, we will plug in all those numbers, even if you have credits, like if the seller is giving the buyer a credit for closing costs, whatever the case is, we're the ones that build this document of numbers of settlement expenses. And that's our job. Once we're closing, we have to be responsible. We're responsible for sending the county the deed, the warranty deed, which is the legal transfer of the property from the seller's name to the buyer's name. We're also responsible in sending the mortgage documents to the county courthouse to get recorded. So yeah, there's a lot that we do at the end. You guys are done when you got your contract. We've got all the legwork going on over here.
How much? I mean, this is really a lot of work in the transaction. It's basically that goes together from under contract to closing. I mean, this is
Yeah.
what more of the documentation, right? It happened to get the closing. Maylene, I would like you to explain a little bit also about your role as an escrow, right? Because the buyers
escrow
have
agent.
always, they always said, okay, where I'm gonna make this deposit. This is my money. Even if it's 2,000, 5,000, 20,000, they always say, where my money is gonna go. Explain a little bit about the escrow accounts that you hold for the buyers. And later on, I have
So
another
the
question.
escrow
But for now,
account,
let's go ahead with this one.
with the escrow, yeah. So our escrow accounts, they're basically regulated by RESPA and they're regulated by our world of professional regulations, right? They have to be in a non-interest bearing account, meaning that we cannot collect interest on it. And it's literally a separate account from our operations account. And the purpose of that is to comply with the contract terms, to comply with what the buyer is basically telling the seller. Hey, seller, I really love your property and I'm going to put $5,000 in an escrow account, meaning a neutral person. It's not the broker's account, it's not the seller's account, it's not the buyer's account, buyer holds it, it's not any of that. It's basically sending it to a neutral party and confirming to the seller, I've already complied with, I've already honored the first step of my contract with you, seller. I told you I was going to give you 5,000. I've deposited the 5,000 into the title company's escrow account. and it's legit, it's a neutral party. Now, the other thing I do want to talk about escrow accounts, and I love that you brought this up because the buyers really truly need to understand how important this is. The first step of your contract. This is the first step of you in going into your way of having that property as your own. On the contract, it's going to specifically say, and Sharon and Raquel will guide you through this, and they'll say, hey, once the seller signs this contract, you will have up to 3 days to turn in this escrow deposit. You have to do that within 24 hours. Do not wait until the third day. And the reason for that is if buyers come to our office and saying, hey, May, I have an escrow deposit of $5,000, and they turn in a check on day 3, it takes about 3 to 5 days for checks to clear. So the only thing that we can legally provide to the seller is an escrow letter, and the escrow letter will say, hey seller, I'm providing you with proof that the buyer did in fact deposit and submit their escrow deposit to us, but that check is not cleared. And this is very important because when you're dealing with sellers, and especially in a market where there's multiple buyers, and again, real estate goes through different markets. There's some markets where the sellers really just don't care, right? And I don't like to say really just don't care, but they're just like, I want to sell this fast, right? And then there's other markets where sellers are being very picky. Like they want the best and highest offer, and they're receiving multiple offers from buyers. So the last thing that you as a buyer want to do is put your transaction in a scenario where the seller's receiving an escrow letter and it's saying that those funds are not clear, because they want to make sure that your deposit is legit. They want to make sure that your check is not bouncing, that you've wired, that you've got the money, that the funds are cleared. So that's the one thing that I always enforce to everyone, regardless of what type of transaction they're dealing with. When escrows are involved, make sure you're doing those deposits within 24 hours of the seller saying, hey, buyer, yes, I've accepted your offer. But in a nutshell, that's what we do. We basically hold the money as a neutral party for the closing.
For the closing.
I hope that answered that one.
And yes, of course. Very well. Because one thing is when we say to our buyers, this is what is going to happen, and then is from this resource and the source of the... Raquel, do you have other question for Maylene? No?
She has explained everything very good.
Yes. Maylene, thank you so much for being with us.
Many years.
We have now Carlos, our insurance company person. And thank you. We will let you know. Do you want to leave your phone number and information, Maylene?
Yeah, I'll leave it on there. You guys can reach me if you have any other questions regarding the closing process itself, what it like on a deeper level. You can expect at closing. You guys can call me. My director is 786-318-6825. And my email address is Maylene, my first name, MEYLG @newworldtitle.com.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Maylene.
Thank you, Maylene. See you later. All right, Carlos, we're ready for you.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, thank you so much, Carlos. That has been a lot of information already that we gave to our buyers. And we talk about the process. We talk about lending, about inspection of the house. Maylene explained very well and in detail about all the title, transferring that ownership documentation to the new owner of the house.
Right.
And now we have you. Very happy to...
The insurance.
Yes, the insurance.
The protection of the home.
The protection of the home.
So
and
for having me, first of all, I want to just share a little bit of nuggets here on the insurance side of the property and what the buyer can expect when buying their first home, right?
Right.
And so one of the things that a buyer needs to realize is that, they're going to obtain a loan and the bank is going to require for them to obtain insurance to protect that investment. Yeah. Even if there is no bank, the buyer's interested in protecting their investment. Most likely for many people, it's going to be the biggest investment of their life, right? Their first home. So what we do here is we make sure that if something were to happen, like a hurricane or a fire or any type of damage, that the buyer is going to be protected and the investment's protected. How are we going to protect that? Well, we're going to make sure that we're going to insure the property to the replacement value. Okay, so one of the misconceptions and one of the myths and one of the confusions that we see a lot from buyers is that they may be buying a house for, let's say, $600,000, but the insurance is for $400,000. or 450. And the reason for that is because we're only insuring the reconstruction of the home. We're not insuring the land or location. That's not going to burn. A hurricane take that away. So if you're buying for 600 and you see a policy for a little bit less, that's usually okay. Okay. So we're going to make sure that we're going to assess the value of the home. We're going to do the calculations necessary to see what it costs to rebuild based on the square feet, the type of roof, the type of construction, 1 story, 2 story, if there's a garage or a pool, the finishes inside the house, because you can have a kitchen, as you know, Sharon, that maybe costs $50,000 or $100,000, right? We have all sorts of different finishes. So we're going to do that, and we're going to come up with the replacement value, and we're going to insure the property for that amount. And we're going to insure it against hurricane, against fire, against lightning, tornadoes, water damage, could be broken pipes, right? So we're going to make sure that they're fully protected. We're also going to make sure that if they're in a flood zone, that the property has a proper flood insurance policy. We want to make sure that we're protected against all perils. And then we're going to call the customer or the buyer, and we're going to provide them that policy, and we're going to go over it with them. We're going to explain everything to them. So, for example, if you have a hurricane, what is the out-of-pocket or what is the deductible that the buyer should be expecting that they're going to have to pay? And we're going to, that hurricane deductibles only apply 1 time per year. So God forbid, if there's 2 hurricanes in a year, they only have to pay it once, which is great. And what if there's a fire? What if their home gets hit by lightning? So we're going to explain all of that to them. We're also going to make sure that we ask them how much coverage they need for the personal belongings. So for their furniture, their TVs, their computers, their bedroom sets, their dining room table, all of that. We're also going to explain and go over the amount that they need in case their home is damaged and they cannot live in there. What happens if they cannot live there? They're going to have to rent another property. So we're going to allocate money so they have some monthly income to pay for that rental, for that new property that you need to rent for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months. Okay.
That's something that I have never heard before.
Yeah.
Very,
very important. These are things that you don't think about, but leave it to me because I'm going to make sure that they're taken care of, right?
Yeah.
And
Also,
Carlos,
yeah.
What do you think it will affect the premium of the house?
Well, that is actually a great question. Most policies that we offer, that is already included, okay? What we do is we adjust it if we need to go higher. Maybe this is a family of 5, like my family, I have 3 kids, and maybe a small townhouse wouldn't do. Maybe they need a single family home. In that case, make sure that they have the amount necessary, okay? And then if we were to increase it, maybe that would be an extra $100 a year, $125, $150 a year, which is really nominal. That's a very small amount for the benefit of what they're going to be receiving. Okay.
Okay.
And then the last cover that we go over is the liability. So have you guys ever had a party at your home, Raquel or Sharon? Have you ever had people over?
Of course.
Thought about, right? Who hasn't? Have you ever thought about what guest falls down at your home or is going to use an outlet and maybe the outlet is not properly grounded and gets electrocuted? Or have you had a pool party with a bunch at your house and what happens if someone drowns? Okay. These are all, these are all things that happen and you need to be protected for that. So we go over the liability portion of the policy to make sure if there's any type of lawsuit for someone slipping and falling or, you know, anything that the homeowner can do that would be that would show that they're negligent or liable. You know, there's a big or there's a lot of talk that we get in our office. Hey, my neighbor has a huge tree on the property line and the tree limbs are hanging over my roof. What happens if the tree limb falls and damages my roof?
Who pays for it?
If that goes to court and it's found, right, who pays for it? Who's liable? You know, what do we do here? Well, we make sure that you have the proper protection, okay? I actually had an interesting story, a claim that happened. A customer of mine had a beautiful Porsche parked on his driveway, a black Porsche, and the neighbor decided to do some do-it-yourself, DIY painting. The dress, they were painting the dresser outside on the driveway with a spray can in white, and the wind took all the spray and it landed on the Porsche and it had a bunch of little white dots. So the liability of the homeowner that did that covered the damage to the car because it was an accident. He was liable for that. So there's so many things that can happen. I don't want to go through it all, but there's so many things that can happen. And it's so important that we go over all of this with the buyers. coverage and explain to them what they're getting. And the great thing about the homeowners policy is that we can adjust it and customize it to fit their needs.
And I love that, Carlos, because actually, from my experience, the insurance part of the mortgage payment, it has been always like seen like an additional cost that nobody wants to have. And
well, think about it, Sharon.
it's
When you
super
buy
weird, right? It's almost like the health insurance. I want an insurance that if maybe I have cancer, it covers my health. So
think about it.
very important.
When you buy a house, you spend so much money, but you get a house. You see what you're buying. With insurance, very different because you're spending a lot of money, but you're just getting a piece of paper that says if something happens, we're going to pay you. And a lot of people, thankfully, don't ever have a claim.
Yes.
Right? See the value in it. But when they do have a claim, then that's when they realize, wow, this is so important to have. I'm so glad I have it. And then it's a question of, do I have the right insurance?
Yes. And now it's very good. I mean, we give you the information and we give you as a buyer and as a client all these details that may happen. So you also don't say, because it may happen to us, you didn't tell me. And then we say, yes, I told you, but the right insurance, it depends on your goals and your expectations, of course, but we want you to have a real, coverage in your property. I have a question that I'm getting here. What is the difference? Why a premium could have different prices? Because normally what we see, of course, as we're talking, it's that the client may tend to go to the lower premium, right? So this is where the coverage comes.
Correct. Everything that I spoke about with making sure you have the right amount of coverage, the loss of use, the liability, the contents, the deductibles, all of that is adjustable by the agent. So if I have a policy that I'm quoting, let's say it's $3,000 a year, but then you go to another agent and that agent decides to really bring down those coverages and maybe makes it $2,800 a year. Well, there's a difference of $200, but there's also a difference in less coverage. And so maybe the customer doesn't realize that what they're doing for $200 is they're removing the benefit of having a rental or having an amount of money that they can pay out for a rental in case of a loss. And they won't realize that until they have that claim and they have nowhere to live. And they would say, oh, for $200, I would have bought that. And so it's a matter of not having the equal coverage is not the same, right? Yeah. So very important that the buyers are educated. And what I would recommend is that they do business with someone that they trust, that they have a relationship with somebody like yourself and Raquel that have built a team of vendors that they work with, because we've worked many times together, that they can trust and say, listen, I can recommend you, this inspection, this title company, this lender, this insurance agent, because I worked with them in the past and we know them.
And that's why we have you here, Carlos, because I want everybody to know that Carlos has been how many years? More than 25, 30 years?
I've been in the business for 30 years.
For 30 years. And what differentiates him is that any coverage that you want to have, from the full coverage to the lightest cover that is the minimum requirement from the mortgage, he can offer to you. It's not like another person gives you a lower one. No, he has all the options. And also when a situation comes like a hurricane, an emergency, and everybody is calling the insurance company, you can be sure that Carlos is going to answer the phone, because his priority are his clients and most likely the clients that we have in common. Right, Carlos?
Yes, that's 100% Sharon, and thank you for that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about before we wrap this up is what is needed for us to be able to offer a quote and ultimately bind a policy. Okay. So when you're in the process of home, you're going to have inspections that are going to be done, right? To make sure that the home is in great shape and there's no issues with anything. Part of those inspections, there are two additional inspections that you need. One is the 4-point inspection and one is the wind mitigation. The 4-point inspection is to receive discounts. Okay. And most homes in Florida, if not all of them, I wouldn't say all of them, but the majority of the homes in Florida have some discounts to offer. Okay. And then the 4-point inspection is to make sure that the home is in good shape, that everything is satisfactory. They're going to look at four things: the electric, the roof, the plumbing, and the air conditioning. And the insurance companies want to make sure that the home is in satisfactory condition. So that is absolutely necessary for us as an insurance agent to be able to quote the insurance and provide you an accurate price. Once you have the inspections, get them to the insurance agent and have the insurance agent quoted. And the insurance agent, once they give you the quote, you should, as the buyer, be giving that to the lender so the lender can look at the rates, look at the coverage, and make sure that everything is in good shape to continue to move forward. Usually, Sharon, what I would prefer is for us to receive the inspections and provide the quote within the inspection period, so that if there's a problem with insurance, right, an unforeseen problem, you and the buyer still have time to get out of that contract.
Wow, that's a
That's a
great
very
input.
important thing to know.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the way that we like to work it. It doesn't always work out perfectly like that, but that's what we strive for. And then once everything is completed and we've explained the insurance quote to the buyer and they've approved it, then we continue with the process of binding the application and sending the proof of insurance to the bank and getting everything ready for closing. While that's happening, as you know, the title company is doing their work, the lender's preparing everything and getting everything ready for closing. And then, once the closing date comes, we'll be ready to do that. Regarding the
I want to say something that I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't want to miss this idea. This is very important because we told you already the process of buying and the insurance. We basically attach the insurance with the mortgage because the mortgage, the one that requires, if you don't have insurance, the bank is not going to give you the mortgage.
Correct.
And what
part of
Carlos
it.
just advised to us is the top of the advices I have heard. Send the insurance, send the report of the inspection to him first, so you know since from the beginning of the process two things. First, that the home is going to be insured, and second, that premium is going to be the good portion of your mortgage payment to close. Why this is important? Because during the inspection period, a buyer can back up from the purchase. And these numbers, I have seen cases that at the end, the insurance goes up or something goes up and the person cannot close. So thank you so much for that advice.
Insurable.
Or is not insurable.
Right.
The worst. Yes.
Yeah.
Any questions from you, Raquel?
That's a great point, Sharon.
Yes.
So what I was going to finish with is once we send over the binder to the bank and the title company for closing, most loans have what's called an escrow account. Okay. And the escrow account is, if you will, a savings account that the bank establishes for the buyer to collect for insurance and taxes. So what we end up doing is we send everything to the bank and to the title company, and the title company at the date of closing will collect the money for the insurance and they will send it to us for the full year. Okay.
Okay.
That's so good. That's good to know.
Give me questions a lot of the times. I say, well, when do I pay for it? And how much? I would like to do a pay plan, or I would like to pass by the office and give you a check. That is not necessary. The insurance is required to be paid in full for 1 year in advance, because we always pay insurance ahead of time. Okay. And the insurance amount, the premium, is calculated in the cash to close for the buyer. So the day of closing, the buyer has to bring the cash to close, the amount of money that is due for closing. And in that amount, the insurance is already included. So a title company will collect all the money, and then they will disperse or send us a check for the insurance, and the insurance will be paid for the full year.
For the full year.
Okay.
That's important. Have
very
you seen
clear.
many cases where the buyer leave the insurance out of the mortgage payment, or it's always been in the mortgage payment?
So I would say 95% of the time it's included in the mortgage and what's called the escrow. There are situations where the buyer doesn't want it and they select not to have it. And so it's basically then paid by the insured. And so
Got it.
we would do it in that manner. but the overwhelming majority is escrow.
An escrow.
Okay.
All right.
Any questions that you guys have?
Everything very clear, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank
Carlos,
you. So
thank you so much.
I'm gonna leave you with my phone number and email.
Sure.
If you would like to email me, my email is my last name, cisneros@allstate.com. That's CISNEROS@allstate.com. And my phone number at the office is 305-595-5668. And then my cell phone is 786-255-5903. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Carlos. I just want to say, everybody, that we have worked with Carlos before. The office answers all the time as well. And he has more insurances, of course, that
Yes.
if you need, you can also reach out to him. Thank you so much, Carlos. I'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
This has been the seminar that we wanted to give all the information. Maybe it's not completed, it's not all, because as you saw, there's too many details in the process. The only thing that I wanna let you go with is trust who you work with. You can trust us because of our experience. We have different cases that we have worked with families, with investors, with single people, with everything. VAs, the veterans. In any case, we have our process in place, our systems for you to have a successful purchase, and beyond all experience, that you are happy when you get the key of your house. So thank you very much. I'm Sharon Hawkins again with Keller Williams. My phone number is 786-376-9913. And Raquel?
Thank you so much, everybody. This is Raquel Hernandez with Keller Williams as well, 786-201-0153. Thank you so much.
We'll see you there, and you give us a call or send us a text message or an email, and we will be with you sitting down to do our consultation. Bye.